Okay, got the agenda in front of you. I'll turn my mic on there. You got the agenda in front of you. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion made and second to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, public comment. Is anyone present that wishes to address the council? Okay, and, then we're moving on. You said Chad is not here?
Chad's not here, no.
Okay. Okay, there's a present, or there was a certificate for Chad Bloom for his service on the park board, and Luann will get that to him future. Proclamation for Earth Day is there a motion to, I think we need a motion to approve that, right?
If you'd like to, Mr. Mayor, you certainly
Okay,
can.
I don't think it's too much. Just a proclamation that the Earth Day proclamation is what it amounts to, and all the cities most of the time do this. So is there a motion to approve this proclamation?
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion made and second to approve the proclamation for Earth Day on April 22nd, 2015. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, the consent agenda, approval of minutes for the March 23rd regular council meeting, approval of minutes for the March 23rd work session meeting, approval of minutes for December 2nd planning and zoning meeting, approval of claims for the month of April, approval of check summary for the month of March, approval of building permit report for the month ending March 2015, approval of the fire department report for a month ending March 2015, approval of 3-2 liquor license, Mayor Baseball Club, authorization for fire chief to apply for the community partnership grant with Centerpoint Energy, and approval of the sheriff's department report for the month ending March 2015. Any of those things need to be pulled out for further discussion? Okay, if not, then is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, motion made and seconded to approve the consent agenda as stated, as listed. Any further discussion? Not, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried.
Can I get the liquor license thing back? 'Cause my social security number's on there. Oh. Just want the papers.
Can't have mine, huh?
I know,
Here.
right? Don't copy yours.
Don't copy it, don't print it out,
Thank you.
send it around. Okay,
I didn't know that was coming to council. I thought it was supposed to just go to these guys.
Well, I think what we need to do is add, in January, when we approve liquor licenses, we need to add that one too. Oh, Mr. Mayor, Chad's here.
oh,
Right on time, right?
Well, I think you are. Look at the clock. You're early.
Hurry.
We're suspended in time.
okay then, Chad,
Yeah.
we have a certificate here for you. It says, this certificate is awarded to Chad Bloom for your dedicated service to the city of Mayor and the Mayor Park Board since 2012. Thank you on behalf of the Mayor City Council and Mayor Park Board. Dated this 13th day of April, 2015.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Chad.
Mr. Mayor, in case you're not aware, Chad has been working with Pheasants Forever in order for the city to get a living classroom in Westridge Park. That's probably going to occur in, sometime this spring. He was very instrumental in helping the city be able to apply for a grant and to be able to move forward with the living classroom. So for that, I thank you very much.
Westridge Park, that's the one by
By the fire station.
Mobile.
the mobile.
Behind the mobile.
Okay, sitting some pheasants nesting in there?
I don't think there'll be pheasant nesting, but there'll probably be monarchs and bees and other insects and songbirds. There'll be a 1 acre plot of native prairie with our pollinator and monarch mixed in it.
Oh, should put you in touch with, there's a student at Lutheran High that's does beekeeping and stuff.
They're doing their own.
They're doing their own,
Same
okay.
grant program. They're doing their own pollinator plot up at the school ground.
Right,
So
okay.
it'll be neat.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Chad.
You got
Thanks,
it.
Thanks
Chad.
for your help, Chad.
Glad to do it.
Okay, going on to 5.1, discussion and direction on waste hauling contract.
Mr. Mayor, council members, back in January, the city received a letter from Waste Management about our upcoming contract renewal that is August 31st of this year. So the city contracts with Waste Management for garbage and recycling services for the residents. And like I said, the contract expires on August 31st, 2015. In the past, the city has extended the contract, but also the city has completed RFPs. The RFP process each time reveals that the rates the city has with Waste Management are very competitive and do not usually result in cost savings to the residents. Waste Management has requested a contract extension and is offering two options. One is a 3 years, and the other is a 5-year. Below are the proposed rate increases based on a 3-year extension and a 5-year extension. Also, what I've provided to you, which I just received today via email from Carver County Environmental Services, are the recent rates that the City of Watertown and the City of New Germany that they have acquired either through the RFP process or through the negotiation process. And the City of New Germany is Randy's, I believe, and the City of Watertown was Elite. It's the other way around. Yep, Elite's with New Germany and Randy's is Watertown. So the first top one is Randy's and the bottom one is New Germany. When I look at these rates, the rates that are even proposed by Waste Management, which I do have, but I really did not want to pass them out to you. I took the letter that was sent to me by Mike Donnelly from Waste Management, because if you're going to do an RFP, then I am now exposing their numbers. But I can tell you, if you want to see them, if you think some of them are half as much, even with their rate increase, compared to what Watertown and to what New Germany just did for garbage services. So I just didn't want to create an unfair situation for the current garbage hauler that showed what the rates were that they have. So I don't know what you want to do. If you're thinking of doing an RFP, I would just not share the rates with you, but if you want to have them in consideration and trust that I'm telling you that they're half the price, I'd be happy to share them. RFP. Request for proposal. So what we do is we put a request for proposal of what we want for garbage services. We send it out to haulers, and then they respond with those within a certain amount of time. It's a public notice in the paper.
In front of us, we got two proposals.
Yep.
And we know what Waste Management provides. But the one of Watertown, when they went out for services, they requested that they had more environmentally friendly trucks. I don't think they use the diesel trucks in Watertown anymore. They use natural gas ones, and the council chose to have the environmentally friendly trucks and the cost that they paid versus the other. New Germany has Elite, and they're the cheaper prices. They're about half.
But Elite is, even as I look at Elite's prices compared to what Waste Management's will be based on the letter that we received from Waste Management, the rates are half, still half.
What are our current rates then, if you don't want to give the...
Current rates are the 32-gallon senior is $6.88, the 32-gallon regular is $7.88, the 64-gallon is $9.71, and the 96-gallon is $10.55. The recycling 64-gallon is $3.69.
Okay, run that past me again. I can't write that fast.
Okay, I'm sorry.
32-gallon senior citizen, senior?
Yep, is $6.88.
Okay.
I mean, I could, 32-gallon,
Regular?
$7.88.
Okay. 64-gallon was $9.71. And
Correct. The 96 is $10.55. And then recycling, when you're ready,
Yep.
$3.69 per month. So even at those rates, the current rates, even with a 3% increase, the rates that you have in front of you for Randy's and Elite are more even than what they're proposing for 2016. If we do a 3-year contract, there's no charge for 2015, so the rates won't change. And in 2016, they're saying a 3%, in 2017, a 3%. If we do a 5-year contract, what they're proposing is no change for 2015, 2016, but then a 4% in 2016, a 0% for 2017, a 4% for 2018, and no increase for 2019. So I guess the question before you should be, do we want to do a request for proposal, or are we just going to go ahead and renew the contract with Waste Management?
Where this chart here, City of New Germany, City of New Germany, that's all New Germany's proposed.
In fact, I think that they just signed a contract with Elite
Okay.
for those amounts. The same with Watertown. They just went out and did request for proposals, and these were the amounts that came back on their RFP. Like I said, I just got this today from Brad Hansel at Carver County Environmental Services.
Okay, so then when you say they're half of their current, okay, I don't see that. I guess I'm
Well,
curious.
a 32-gallon is $14.70, and a 32-gallon for us is $7.88. So that's about half.
Right, okay, of Watertown, but how about New Germany there?
So for New Germany, where's my New Germany one? So New Germany, 32-gallon, their current monthly is $9.95, but is $10.25, so it's $3 more than what we have.
But that includes recycling there, with
Okay.
recycling container, right?
I guess it does.
Yeah, so the 1025 includes recycling
So
container.
it's about the same price then with Elite.
So it's roughly the same price.
Yep. You're right.
In fact, Elite's a little bit cheaper.
That could be.
If we go with the 3-year contract with Waste Management, they're looking at a 3% increase in 16 and 1 in 17, which is 6% increase. And if we go 5%, or 5 years, they're going up to 8% increase.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they're stretching it out over
Yeah,
100.
and if you look at Elites, they're going up 3% each year.
Mhm.
With most cities, do we think recycling's every other week? I don't know.
Mhm.
What about the cleanup day that we have where they pick up and then don't
Again, that would be, in an RFP, that would reveal that. I'm not sure that these include that for New Germany. I don't know what they do for cleanup day. But in your rates, it's 50 cents a month that everybody pays additional for the cleanup day, for them to be able to do curbside.
and do they do something with the Christmas trees too or no?
That's
Not
county.
anymore. Oh,
That's
that's
the
county.
This is the residential rates for both Elite and Randy's. And, Waste Management also includes all the city pickup also?
Only residential. They don't do commercial.
No, but
For the city buildings.
the city building.
Right.
It includes all that,
Right, but we don't
Garbage.
pay anything for that.
correct.
It's free.
And we don't know if they would offer that same deal.
Correct. I don't know. Again, an RFP process would give you that information. But it's a lengthy process that every time we've done it, when it comes back, Waste Management's usually cheaper than anybody else usually is and gives us more services.
Okay, now, so you said Waste Management was 64-gallon, $9.71,
Correct.
plus $3.69
So that's 13.
is $13.40.
Yep.
So New Germany's 64-gallon with recycling container is $10.60. Am I reading this right? Or that's current rate, so the increase for 25th, so they put it at $10.92.
64 gallon is $9.71.
plus $3.69.
Yep,
This makes a total of $13.40.
yep.
And if I look at Concity New Germany's, it's, the 64 gallon recycling container is $10.92.
Did you just say 96?
That's just a 2-year.
Well, even if I go
And
to a
which
5-year contract,
1039. It's around there.
$10.39, $10.70, $11.58, it doesn't, it's $11.50, it's 5-year price is still $2 less than,
What
the
we
current
currently
price.
pay.
Mike Donnelly from...
Yes.
Mayor, members of the council, I'm Mike Donnelly, I'm from Waste
Yep.
Management. Some of the things that do go into our contract, we've been, I've been to Germany as well, I don't believe they have a curbside cleanup that we're offering. The curbside cleanup is something that we hate to do because of the time involved. We actually send out 8 guys, there's 4 trucks, there's 8 guys with those trucks. They're out in the city for about 6 to 7 hours on that Saturday for the cleanup. That's built into our rate.
Right.
Along with that, we offer a lamp tracker service, which is a recycling program for the light bulbs with it, like fluorescent bulbs in the city offices. Residents I know drop them off. I've had contact with Lois and Luann both, getting additional containers brought out to have those disposed of. We're one of the only ones who can do that as far as the licensing goes. Our product is a secure product. You seal them up, they come pick them up from UPS. We get a recycling certificate, we send it to the city when they have that. You're responsible for all of those bulbs until the materials have been, the lead has been harvested out and the materials have been recycled. That's, if it breaks in the back of somebody's truck, you're responsible for that breaking in their truck. We do offer that service, and it is part of the contract. As mentioned, the city services, we do all the buildings. When there's a special event here at the center, we bring in another container or do extra pickups for it as well. So we've been a really good business partner, and it's been long-standing, and very few complaints. A lot of times when you change over, there's a lot of different confusion and things that happen. I don't hear from Lois or Luann very often at all, and I know they don't talk to my facility administrator that does handle the customer service for them very often at all, where I hear about it.
And whenever we've had an issue, they've been very responsive to any issue that we've had. We had one where, was with one resident, and Mike took care of it immediately for me. So, the other thing that they do offer that you failed to mention was that we do battery recycling too. That's free to the residents, so,
I did not know that.
yes. Now you
The
do.
lamp tracker and battery tracker service is all
Yes.
part of it, and we can get a container as needed into the city.
Oh, I have some light bulbs from you.
Yes.
How many
Yeah.
containers have you done in the last year?
I wanna say about 4 of the long ones and two or
Correct.
3 of the CFL style, compact fluorescent boxes.
That's how we got rid of our, the fluorescent bulbs from the wastewater plant, from the, UV system. And we called to get an extra long box, and they provided it to us, so.
Yep, that's all
Part of the contract. So the monthly rates include the cleanup too, so.
I think the residents really like to clean up. Well, I do.
Cleanups are very popular.
I like to just watch everybody coming around trying to take stuff from my pile.
And entertaining.
I help people put some of my crap in their cars.
Useful and entertaining.
Like, here, you want this? Here, I'll help you put it in your car.
If you have any questions, I'm free to answer.
okay, what do you wish to do?
It's hard to compare services when you ain't got a
You don't know what they are.
comparison. I'm all for saving money for the residents. $3 a month is $36 a year. I don't know what the cleanup cost, if we negotiated that into other contracts.
There's someone here from the lead, right, that I see?
Linda Beckman with Elite Waste Disposal and Andy Schultz, Operations Manager from Elite Waste Disposal. What kind of questions that I try to answer without making it in black and white?
Just what we've been talking about, I think. Is it doable to have a cleanup day? How much would it cost?
Our cleanup days are included in our pricing. Curbside cleanup days. That was the big one you guys talked about, and the curbside, we usually do it depending upon what you're looking for, once or twice a year. We can also supply it, we've also on different dates, supply a dumpster for different communities, to say in the spring or the fall, that you can put it at City Hall, people can bring stuff, boom, done, you know, besides the cleanup days, depending on what the city is looking for. Gallon carts, or the cart sizes are the same. We do take care of our customers, you know, if there's any other company. One positive with the lead is that we do have, we call, we get a live person right away. We don't put their hands in, we mean everybody's local and locally owned. Do you have anything else to add, Andy?
Yeah, with New Germany, they just signed a 5-year extension with us. We offer compost services in their city. They have a 20-yard dumpster that they put compost in. Cart sizes are all the same, competitive with the other haulers. And as far as the cleanup goes, just for example, we also do Carver, we do their major cleanup day. Basically the same that Mike was saying, we have 2-man crews go out with rear-load trucks and an automated truck, and we collect in the city. It's a bigger event. The city of Carver has a lot of extras, so we split that up into 2 days this year. Last year we tried to do it in one and it was too much, so I had to get a hold of the city council to extend it into Sunday. This year we came up with a proposal to basically cut the city in half and do a 2-day event. So it's gone very well. The communication is key for our company. We have customer service reps right at our location, and we track the hold time with our company, with our customers. We don't like customers to be on hold more than 4 minutes. So we always 3 minutes. Sorry. But there's a live person that answers your call immediately, so I think that's a huge benefit to
I've never heard of you. Where are you from?
Jordan.
We have been in business for over 20 years now.
For a 21-year anniversary.
So these prices that we see here for New Germany, that includes their citywide pickup day, and it includes recycling twice a month, but not necessarily the fluorescent bulbs and the disposal of those things.
Correct, they do not do a fluorescent bulb.
Do they pay a fee to bring stuff for the cleanup day? Is it curbside? Did you pick it up?
In New Germany? They have the council members in New Germany bring it to one location, and then we have a rear load, we have a driver, 2 drivers, and a rear load truck, and then the mayor and the city council, they load the truck.
And then,
No.
Yes, but that was the board side of that, we leave it on the side.
Way above and beyond.
right, but that's what's included in the price, that you're it's not a curbside door-to-door pickup. No, it's they have to bring it to a location
Correct.
and drop it off. Then does the city charge them a fee to recuperate some of the cost? Because that's how we used to do our cleanup too. People would bring everything to the wastewater plant, and then we'd load it in the rear load of the truck, and if it was couch or whatever, we charged a fee for all those things. And then that went back, to the city because we had to pay for that cleanup. Well, then we went to having it curbside, and that's why that's included in the fee now, so we don't have to be at the waste plant doing
I
that.
don't know how their contract was set up for that.
With different cities, there's always different contracts, different opportunities. I mean, we do have the curbside for other cities, but we do have the dumpster. I mean, that'd be something we'd take a look at and figure out your needs and wants, and if you still want to curbside it.
Which that's an additional fee then, to dump it. Yes.
Well,
It's not included in the monthly fee.
curbside would be included in the bid. If they give us 10 couches, I mean, you go through Carver, there's some places have 10 beds and there's no additional charge.
But I'm just trying to compare to what the New Germany prices are to what our current prices are, so that we're getting a comparison. And this isn't curbside.
That is
Right.
not curbside.
And then do they pay an additional fee to dispose of this stuff? Because that's what we used to have to do. There'd be an additional fee for the cleanup day.
No, the city does not pay for an additional fee, we take everything at no charge.
How about the city of Carver?
City of Carver, I have not looked at, I guess, in a year,
Okay.
you know exactly, that's
They are charged.
They are curbside and they are charged.
A monthly fee spread out among the whole, do you know what it is?
It's hard to compare them.
It's hard to compare, so,
Curbside is considerably more expensive because you've got 4 trucks on the road, 2 guys in each truck for 6 or 7 hours. A drop site, you can put 1 or 2 trucks out there with 2 to 4 guys, that's it. You don't need all the extra bodies, you're usually, you have a start time and end time, usually 3 or 4 hours, start time and end time. We might be out there longer than 6 or 7 hours depending on other stuff. That still comes off as not an extra charge. That's still taken care of by us,
Well, you work that in, yours is 50 cents per,
something like that.
okay,
To a landfill, to haul something to a landfill, to take a carload to a landfill, you're probably looking $40 to $50 on, in general, that's, you haven't brought, you're right to your front yard, rather than having, you get the load and go on, right at your house. There's a caveat to that.
okay, like Bruce said, it's hard to make comparison without a real, true comparison. So do you wanna go to, get an RFP, or we've heard from both companies here, and we need to do something, compare apples to apples. You know, one way to do that is get an RFP so we can lay them down side by side.
Will these rates with, waste management change if we go out to an RFP? Are these good?
I would have to evaluate what you can answer that. I have to evaluate. But I know you've got a very fair rate right now.
I'd make a motion to put it out on an RFP.
Okay, is there a second?
is there another way to compare apples to apples? Give each company a list of what we're looking for and tell them to price it?
That's an RFP.
It's an RFP.
Just 2 of them.
Yeah, do that to just 2 of them, you have to put it out and advertise it.
You do.
You wouldn't have to, but I think that, in all fairness, that's what you would wanna do.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion made, second to put on RFP for the refuse and recycling service. Any further discussion?
Is it gonna cost us anything other than
My time,
your time?
and advertising in the paper.
Plus these rates could change, waste management,
They're not due the contract's not due till August.
no, but he's already had said that he can't guarantee that these
Sure.
rates will,
Well,
so.
We can advertise that on the League of Minnesota Cities, can't we, Lynn? Ain't that where they pick a lot of them up?
Yeah, we can. Right, we can, but wouldn't you wanna put it in the legal section of the paper that is our paper?
mhm.
Yeah, we have
So
to
then
do
it's a
that.
legal notice, we don't have to, but I would think you would, to be fair.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, any further discussion? Not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Motion carried. Okay, approval of KLM Engineering proposal for a water tower rehabilitation.
Mr. Mayor, then I will bring an RFP back to the next council meeting for you to review and be sure that it should have everything that you want in that RFP, okay? Okay. Mr. Mayor, council members, city staff's been working with KLM Engineering on the rehabilitation of the water tower. The attached proposal is for the engineering services, and I take it it's for the contract services for the repair of the water tower too, right? The $160?
Yes, it's all,
What's up?
Yep. So the services that will be provided by KLM are the preparation of specifications, selection and retention of the contractor, inspection services during the structural repair, surface preparation, and coatings application. On page 4 is the total cost of the engineering services in the amount of $169.88. Staff is recommending approval of the water tower engineering and construction services. This is that design build. We're just calling that design build, it's called technical.
Yes, it's mostly design build. There's
Okay.
anything, out there.
Okay, so I'm just gonna ask a question to my memory. We approved something prior to this. What was that scope? Cause like I felt like that's somewhat repeated here, but that's just me not knowing.
That was for the 28,000. Do you wanna explain that?
Wanted to know engineering fees up front, so it's different than the normal process, but so we provided those engineering fees up front, and then they approved that, and then now those numbers have been incorporated into this number. So now you have, the engineering fees, and you have the contracting fees, for all the painting and disposal.
So we haven't actually given you any money yet?
That is correct.
Excuse me. And just to make, I guess I read this a couple of times too, I thought, it says for engineering service, but this is for the complete project.
Yes, it says, design build services, to manage the water tower rehabilitation with comprehensive specification, engineering services, construction services, project management, coding inspection, for the fee of $160,988.
Okay, is there a motion to approve this, second, and we discuss it further? Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, motion made second to approve this, engineering and construction services. Any further discussion?
So you're gonna then create the plan to put it out for bid? No? Like, of course you're gonna do that, it's like, no, go ahead.
Yeah, I've already put it out to bid,
Okay.
and that's how I've come up with these numbers.
Oh my God.
So in the design build process, it's a little bit different than going out. The other way is called conventional, so that is where you do an RFP and you send it out, and you have multiple parties bid on it. This streamlines the process and saves the city some money, and along with some other things.
The thing in this process, they also knew the vendors to contact that they've dealt with in the past, have done a good job for them, so it's
Absolutely,
Cut
yes.
it.
We put it out to, parties that we knew, this size of tank, this kind of job, will do the best job for the least amount of money. You risk when you go out to bid, having everybody bid on it, and possibility of disqualifying a company, and then that's kind of a cumbersome process too, because in the end result, you want the best product for the lowest dollar, not just the lowest dollar.
Thank you for that.
On page 4, under antenna inspections, that's per unit,
That means,
provider,
that means per provider, yes,
per provider.
yes.
So there's $7,000 worth of engineering in,
That's, yes. That's for managing the antennas, coming off the tower, going back on the tower, drawing reviews, pre-construction meetings, and such. And that is what we estimate that you should escrow. It typically comes in less than that. Yes. And that, one other thing is that is a pass-through cost. That is no money out of the city of Mayor's pocket. That is paid for strictly by the provider.
I know there was some talk of adding a jacuzzi mixer. Is that included in this?
That is not included. That is a separate proposal that we sent to Kyle, that he has asked for a few times, and we did, send him. And jacuzzi mixers, that's a term out there, though it's a style of mixer that they've used in the past. They have a high failure rate. We've seen over the past, a lot of leaks and stuff. There's a Solar Bee mixer that KLM has been representing for a couple years now. We've installed them before that, because customers purchase them directly, and then because we're tower people, they hired us to install them. We watched them, we went out on, middle of winter time frame, so a tower with lots of ice one year, the mixer, inspecting it to make sure that they're working properly for the city, number one, and then we put in so many of them, SolarBee wanted us to carry that product line, so we have done that as well, and last year we put in 14 of them.
We're doing all this maintenance,
That's the best time to put it in, is right when the painters are finishing up, have the unit installed, make sure that there's no problems with the installation, everything's up to code and up properly installed, and then then close up the project. And it's not just a mixer for ice. You get a lot of stratification and problems with your chlorine residuals from the bowl to the top of the tower. What happens is the sun's beating on your tower all summer long, and water's coming in to feed the residents, so cold water comes in, but it doesn't mix with the warm water up top. So when you guys open up your faucets and draw, it's the same water coming in and out. A lot of times during our inspections, we'll open a hatch and we'll see biofilm all over the top. It's because it's not changing over, it's not mixing. This keeps it mixing, and there's studies, I don't know, I think I sent it to you in the PDF, but there's of the chlorine residuals being very close from the top to the bottom, and when measured without mixing, it can be significantly different. And then one of the times of the year where you see the problems is in the fall time when it starts to cool down, then that water from the top does come, turns over like a lake turns over, and then it does feed into your system. So this just helps keep your water fresh.
That's not something we're discussing tonight, then, as such. That's additional, or... How much?
That's without electrical. And electrical's been running $3,000 to $4,000.
Okay, any further discussion on this part of it tonight? $60,000.
Is this a not to exceed kind of a thing? I mean, are we gonna have any surprises?
There's some language in there that if you ask for extras, if there was extras in those terms, then there could or would be extras, but this is for the scope of work, which you're approving. We will get you the scope of work to review it with Kyle if he wants to review it with you guys. Make sure that we've interpreted everything that you wanted, which I've gone through it over and over again, so I don't expect to see any changes.
This is bad.
Any other questions? Okay, if not, call motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Mayor and council members, thank you for your time.
And as far as, Kyle, did you have something to add on this, or is that coming up later as far as that mixer?
I wish we would've had it on the,
Well,
we can always put it on for the next meeting and talk.
Mr. Mayor, we're probably gonna have to bond for this project anyway, so we can add it at that time. I mean, I was waiting till after tonight's meeting. I've contacted bond counsel because the roundabout has also started, so we were going to bond for that also. So we will just add that to the cost of the bonding, and then we'll include it when we come back and get approval.
Get the complete price for next meeting then,
Yep.
for the electrical and everything, so we can act on that. Okay, broadband request.
Mr. Mayor, council members, City Council had instructed staff to contact Broadband Corporation about the proposed escrow for the water tower repairs. Staff did contact Broadband and received the attached email from Anthony Will. Anthony is requesting to be placed on the council agenda. The mayor also spoke with representatives from KLM Engineering, and they have provided a reduced cost estimate for the broadband antenna review and inspection services. This fee covers the initial review of the plans, inspection after installation, and if there are any more required inspections, it would be based on time and material. The total fee is $2,700 for broadband reinstallation of their antennas. And again, attached is the email and the proposal from KLM. I'm requesting direction from the city council.
Okay. Just to get some background, I did contact, KLM, I don't know, did I speak to you about it?
You started with me, and then I got the antenna department involved, and I
Right.
returned your call.
And while Mr. Will is not dealing with cellular, there's a lot of unknowns that go into this stuff, but, you know, they were willing to negotiate a price, so after some talk and so forth, what it amounts to is, there's a $1,500 drawing review. What that includes is one drawing, reviewing it, and then getting a second drawing and get that taken care of. The people at KLM did say that they would be happy to work with you to make sure your drawing is correct right up front. Maybe they can save you some bucks that way, and make sure it gets done right away. He made the point with me, they can skip some of the intermediate steps because they're not the cellular providers. But the problem becomes when they look at their plans, by the time you sub it out to a contractor to put stuff up there, things get skipped, the things don't get done right, and that's where the problem comes in with not being done. That's why the cost is up there higher. So if you can get your plans done right and get it done right away, it's gonna be $2,600. If it's gonna be,
Well, we install all our own.
well, okay, but then the drawings have to be done to their specs too, is what it amounts
Am
to.
I gonna get a PE stamp for that?
No.
You know,
Why would you approve their plans? They have to don't they have to get a professional engineer? Isn't that usually how we do it?
Okay, I can't answer that. It's
Yeah.
possible that
Okay.
you could do that, but it's not my department, so
Yeah.
I'm not versed enough in it to answer that.
I'm just thinking about when Sprint submits plans to us, we ask them to have an engineer sign off. We don't sign off on them. The city doesn't, but the plans they provide to us.
So, that I don't know, because now you're taking it out of the antenna department and it's going to the engineer for review, so I would assume he probably has some hours on it. But I can't answer that today.
So, you probably read the email. Basically, this is where we're at. The city has a project that they're completing with the water tower recoating. In the 15 years that I've been doing this, basically as long as the industry has existed, never had a municipality ever request anything. At this point, due to the size of the customer base, the size of the potential customer base, and the revenues we've received at this point, there's no room for any fees, period. If the city of Mir wants us to help subsidize their water project, we're not interested.
You aren't subsidizing it.
Yeah,
Well, I
You're-
realize
no,
that you're, okay, well, the engineering organization that you're committing to work with feels that these are appropriate steps, and I understand, no one here is an engineer. You have to take their word for it, right? But they're completely unnecessary. So,
They're not unnecessary from our standpoint. We are providing the water service to the city. It has to be done correctly and properly.
I realize.
Okay, I've tried to get this down to a much more workable, that $7,000 to $2,600, down to $2,600 is a big jump down.
Mr. Mayor,
So-
please don't take anything I'm saying as not appreciating your effort. But be that as it may. There's no, basically, what the city needs to decide is if they want our services. In order for us to provide these services, we have to keep our costs to an absolute minimum in order to be competitive. And those costs, these additional thousands of dollars, I mean, the original request was for more than we've even made on the tower in over a year and a half. You know, so you're asking us to take this financial risk to service the community. I can give you examples of a township, not a city, not a town, a township, building us a tower so we could lease on it and provide services to the area. Does the city of Mayor want us here? That's what it boils down to. For us to do that, the lease needs to be as it states. We're not a new occupant, so any of that language in there that says new occupancy doesn't apply. The only language in there that deals with maintenance that could have an additional fee. And the other point that could be a potential fee not as of today, but believe me, I'm very leery at this point, is when we need to upgrade that equipment to stay competitive and improve services for this community, are you gonna make us go through all this again? And all these costs again? I can tell you that's not possible for us to service this area in those conditions. It's just the way it is. And that's where we stand. I'm happy to discuss this through, answer any questions you might have, but that's where we are.
Council members have any questions? And I guess my comment is, if you're saying you're not going to be paying these fees, I would find it hard for the city to subsidize a private business. Especially when there's others that are using leasing space on a tower too, are paying their full share of the cost. So, you have to understand our point of view too, that we can't go out and subsidize. If we subsidize you, then what do we say to the next business that wants to come in and wants the same treatment from us?
That's very and realize that, flip that point, right? So, we do this for the city. What's the city of New Germany gonna say? What's the city of Howard Lake gonna say? What's Young America gonna say? What's Cologne gonna say? We're not gonna create that precedent. Now, and two, maybe I don't understand exactly what KLM is offering per phone here for services, but realize they're charging $1,200 to take some pictures to make sure we have a piece of rubber between our mount and the rim. $1,200. That's what that is.
Is that true?
Making sure the coatings have not been damaged during the installation, making sure the installation, with the drawing review, that you have a railing up there, that any equipment that's put on there doesn't affect the strength of the railing with the wind speed. And again, it's not my bailiwick, I know a little bit about it, but
That would be part of about $1,500, not the $1,200.
okay, yeah, and yes, it would go up there and it would document that it was installed correctly. Okay, and if there was damage and there's more than one provider, you can determine which provider has to pay for it. And it happens all the time. Maybe, I see David over there nodding.
Yeah, just keep in mind with whatever this fee is, this is an estimate of the time that you're gonna pay your expert to inspect and make sure that what you're allowing on your water tower is done correctly, and that if there's any issues that they're taken care of. So, as I understand it, they're not giving you a fixed fee. They're estimating the time that it's going to be necessary for them to review this on your behalf. The $7,000 is based on the history that we have when doing these sorts of things. It would be similar if Bolton and Mink was doing it, and it's similar if KLM is doing it based on our experience doing these kind of inspections. And this might be the gold standard in being in efficiency and getting it right the first time. That hasn't been our experience with providers on your tower in the past. And he's absolutely right. You're looking at the coatings. Anything structural on that water tower has to be reviewed. That's where the PE comes in for somebody to be able to take a look at these things and make sure it's being done accordingly, and that you're not in any way compromising the integrity of your tower with the work that's being done. So regardless of what the dollar amount is, if it's $10 or if it's $10,000, it's trying to capture and ensure that the city has the security to reimburse you for the cost that you're gonna incur, to basically allow this to happen and make sure that it's done according to your requirements.
But this says it is a fixed fee, right? We know it's gonna cost that much.
My understanding is when the mayor had a conversation with, our antenna department, that they would do it for that fee.
Okay.
But he wasn't
Yeah.
willing to do it for less than that.
And they dropped out, they also had trips in there for during the installation and a punch list after it was initially installed to develop that. They dropped that out and they said they would do just one fixed fee, but if the final inspection does not meet the drawings,
It's going up.
then that's gonna go up. Then there's gonna be extra cost. So,
Well, and see, what I don't understand here is who's submitting these drawings? We're not. You know, no one's ever even requested the information appropriate to make these drawings or even to do a PED. See, I've done this before. I haven't received any request for anything that would allow any of this to even happen.
I would say, how are you gonna allow something on your tower that you don't know what it is? Are you, I'm not sure how other communities do it, I guess, you know, and that's if they're able to, have a system in place, but I guess my question would be is, how do you know what is going, or have you provided something that indicates what's going on your tower, where it's going, how you're installing it, how you address the coatings when you're done? I guess that's part of my, and again, we're not performing the service KLM as, but those just off the top of my head would be the questions I would have as to how what's going up there and how is this getting done, and if we don't have anything to review, how do we, I don't even know what we're basing this on.
As part of the equipment that's being installed, itemized inventory.
Okay.
So, that's the list of the equipment. Now, realize, the equipment that we install, like, for example, the transmission line that's installed, it's literally less than a tenth of the size of a cellular transmission line. Okay? Our systems are low impact by nature. Okay? They can be put on towers that are literally this big around at 150 feet. Okay? The structural load of our systems are designed to be as minimal impact as possible.
But if it's going on a tower specifically designed for that, you're not dealing with the coatings, which is the biggest component of the water tower, and being able to understand how, you know, you can drill a hole 1/8 of an inch, and if it's not taken care of properly, all of a sudden you have a spot for us to, you know,
Don't drill holes.
well, again, then that's why we're asking for plans, so that we understand what you're doing. If it's all up there by duct tape and super glue, well then I guess we need to review that so that we understand.
That's how it originally was installed.
Well, so
You know, that's the thing. You know, I realize the city got bit by Clone ISD. Okay, I understand that. I can understand your frustration and your anxiety over that. But just realize that we're not that, okay? And we're a professional company that has been doing this for a long time, okay? And we install typically on commercial structures, and we're installed on many water towers, okay?
Is there another location within the city that you could be, that would work?
Yeah, I'm sure there's a cellular tower somewhere in town.
I would just add that, you know, if you're, if you haven't had to provide lines or any of this in the past, I think you should be prepared for it, because that is the future, that's reality. Well, you know, and I've been a small business owner myself, so, I mean, I feel your pain, but I do but you have to know that, this is what it takes today to do this kind of business. And I understand that you're low impact, and I know it's gonna be less than Verizon because there are, other providers or whatever, because you are less impact. But there's still a reality here that it has to go through the process.
And I'm not saying anything that this process shouldn't happen, okay?
You just don't wanna pay for it.
Exactly. Whatever the city wants to do, I mean, I'm not gonna try and stop you from doing what you want to do. It's your water tower, it's your structure. I can understand that. I'm willing to provide you with all the specs of everything. I'm willing to provide you with a scope of how we typically install. I can give you examples of previous installs. But that can help you come to a decision as if you needed it inspected or not. But again, realize that we don't do this for anybody else, other than, and on commercial towers, we do that. But the commercial tower provides the engineer, okay? We pay a one-time $1,500 fee to American Tower, the largest tower company in the entire nation. That covers applications, PE stamps, everything we need for any regulation within that particular territory. Everything, $1,500. If I just asked them to do an engineering study, it'd probably come in about half of that. So, I have several objectives to this. One, I don't know, maybe you pay your guys to it, but the cost is exorbitant. It's just the reality of it. And I have very large concerns about, the equipment that's up there, it has to come down. We can't continue to operate it. We're going to have to modify it. The languages and the lease allows you to then ask us to do this all again. Bad.
Okay, I think, we've heard this over and over, so I guess we're at, unless the council has some miraculous, idea here, I tried my best to get it down to a workable price for you, and I understand small business, I was a small business then too, I still am. But there are costs up front, costs that you have to bear. It's, so I don't know what else I can do.
I would ask that you make a motion to request it, and I might request. And at that point, then we will terminate under the original terms of the original lease. And it's,
Well, the lease
we
hasn't
all
been
tried.
signed yet, right?
Nobody can lack anybody here for effort.
Right. Yeah, I don't wanna lose broadband. I'm happy with their service. I use them. I'd like you to research maybe looking at somewhere else within the city, but I also think we need this thing done right, so.
It is unfortunate, repairs that we do have on the tower, the history we have with the companies. Fortunately, today it does require engineering drawings, detail, this type of inspections. And it is unfortunate for little people. It is hard as a small company to do that.
Okay, then, we've got the, where have I lost my place, here it is. Staff is requesting direction from the council, so we can either make a motion and deny it, or we can just drop it and move on.
We already approved it in here, right? We already approved that fee in here, including the $2,700. Or is this, was this a
That
separate?
fee was a separate proposal. It's a separate proposal that you have with that memo.
This is a separate,
So we
fee.
can motion to approve this proposal, and they don't have to take it.
right.
Which I think we should do, because maybe they'll change their mind.
Certainly could, but that's that's the request before you,
Yeah,
is the proposal that's been presented to them.
yeah, that's true.
Well, if this is as low as it's gonna get,
Was somebody else supposed to talk to,
you think this is as low as it
did I
can
talk to
get?
Rodney, is that who I talked to? Or are you,
I'll make the motion to accept this proposal from KLM to broadband.
is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, a motion is made and seconded to approve the proposed fees for the broadband antenna installation. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed?
Aye. I'm a yes, aye.
You're aye, okay.
This is a late one.
Opposed, motion carried. Okay.
If I may, we may need to plan this on maybe the next meeting on the agenda, but, if the council could have maybe Luann tell me a deadline, we'll let our customers know. We'll have our equipment up the tower prior to getting work with you guys at the point.
Well, what does the lease say? Is it a 30-day notice that you need to give us that you're gonna remove? Is that what it says? I don't know. Maybe we should look at the lease.
Because the lease, that lease term ended, at this point, we're on basically a rolling 30-day.
So I guess that's what it becomes then, I would think.
Well, this is notice of that. So,
I can put it on the next agenda, certainly, if that's what, I can check with Hubert and see what he thinks
Okay.
too, and then if it needs to be on the next agenda, I will, otherwise I'll communicate with you via email.
okay.
Okay?
Just let us know when you went down.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good evening.
Okay, approval of purchase of lawnmowers for parks. I've asked to have this put back on the agenda after our last meeting. One of the biggest reasons is that the original request came from Public Works for lawn mowing, and looking at my lawn, I'm gonna need to mow lawn in about a week, and so if we wait to the end of the month to approve this, that puts them in a bind because the grass grows a little faster this year than some other years. I did talk to Bob's Repair and spent some time talking to Bob, and I talked to Kyle about this, and Bob said that going to the second Hustler, it's a 72-inch Hustler, and running two of those would probably be more advantageous to us than buying the Flex Wing, because the Flex Wing is only going to be good for us on about 12 acres of our over 28 acres. Only on the soccer and softball and baseball fields. And after the last meeting, I got to thinking about the Flex Wing. I grew up on a farm, and I know what kind of problems you can run into pulling a 12-foot wide piece of machinery behind a 6-foot wide tractor. It isn't always pretty. Whereas the Hustler, two Hustlers, both could be used for doing around the trimming. Both are zero turn. If you're running side by side on the ball field, you're covering 11 feet as opposed to 12 feet. So that's not a whole lot of difference. Not much difference there. And he did say that, Bruce and I were talking about it, he did say, Bob said that, Victoria runs two Hustlers. Bruce said they've got a bigger mower too. I'm not quite sure, but, like the West Ridge Park behind Mobile, there's absolutely no way you could use a Flex Wing mower in that park. You'd be running trees all over the place, because there's no room to maneuver. And, to me, it makes more sense to use the two Hustlers and then go on and then set up a every other year or 2-year trading cycle. So we always trading a new one every 2 years. So we're avoiding the maintenance that goes with an older machine, and we're going to be in, I think, a little better shape. Proposed as far as what I'm saying is to do it. It's going to cost us about $10,600. Eighth of that comes out of the sewer water fund or sewer fund for doing the sewer area, and the rest of it out of the park fund. And we do need to use good accounting. It should come out of the park fund because it's being used for the parks. It's being used to maintain the parks. It needs to come out of the park fund and be attributed to that. So that's, and I will make that a motion, I guess, if I think I can do that, so I will make that a motion. Now we can proceed with that, and that way Kyle will start mowing before our next meeting, which you may need to do already.
Can I ask, did you prepare this?
Yeah.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
This was a lot of work, and it was very comprehensible. I could read through it, and I liked it. This is kind of proof why we should have had this gone through the proper channels in the first place. Because if this had not been challenged last meeting, we would have two pieces of new equipment come out of a budget that isn't appropriated for it, and we have one that we did not need.
Right, I agree. I'm glad it didn't pass last meeting. I'm glad we we decided to table, it gave me a chance to talk about it, and talk to Kyle about it, and I talked to Kyle about some other things too, that, to make better use of our equipment that we do have, so.
That, my main purpose for proposing that is to use that tractor more, because currently that tractor is being utilized at all of what it should be for the cost of it and everything, so. I will be looking at alternatives for that piece of equipment, to maybe get a better piece of equipment in here that.
Yeah, something that's more versatile.
Yeah.
Okay, so the only question I have,
You should probably call for a second before you
Yeah,
discuss
is there a
it.
second?
sorry,
Was a
I'll
second?
second it.
Okay, second. Okay, now, question.
okay, so my question is, when we were talking last time and I was asking questions, I understood it that the summer staff person would be using both pieces of equipment. So they would be the only ones mowing. In this scenario, you're mowing and the summer staff is mowing at the same time. So has that changed? Because because the summer staff would use that and then they'd use the zero turn to do around all the stuff.
Kinda sorta changed, I don't know, I mean, for like, well, we'd have a 72 tomorrow, we'd have a 16 tomorrow. So I guess it would still kinda change when you do the water plant with the 16 tomorrow, you can do the city hall here with the 16 tomorrow, and you can do the 72 tomorrow, on the ball.
With just one person mowing?
Well, and that, typically, I would help out, especially if grass is really growing, I mean, even if I just mowed a couple hours a day, that helps Kenzie tremendously, so it's like, yeah, so a little bit of my time and a little bit of time.
I was just curious, because like if we have two mowers and you only have one person mowing, then what's the point of having two mowers?
Yeah, I'm curious about that too. I have some questions about the old Hustler, like what kind of repairs does it need? Are we keeping that? The current,
Right now, what it stands, with going this route, Bob did say that if we, through the course of summer, decide we don't need both hustlers, he will honor the trade-in price. Come August, he'll still honor the trade-in price. So we can,
okay.
we can still get the 72-inch. Come August, if we don't want to have two people mowing, trade the 60-inch, he'll honor the same trade-in price. I understood last meeting that Kyle said he did some mowing too, that's why I just assumed two of them mowed.
I do some mowing, yeah.
That's where it came from,
Not all
so.
day long, like with Kenzie does, but even if I go out a couple hours.
As far as, I think even going at that point, I'd be more inclined to say let's hire another part-time person to do some mowing rather than spend $14,000 on a flex wing. Getting somebody to, what's Kenzie's rate gonna be, 11-something, did I see, or am I right there?
Yeah.
Get somebody else part-time.
No, I completely agree with, what you've decided on the flex wing, and it makes sense, and I don't think right now we need it, it's not a necessity. I'm just trying to determine what's going on with the old Hustler, first of all. Like, does it work? Yeah.
Yeah, it's just getting it at $1,300 off. And typically when mowers get that, Mary's starting to go out of tires, or replace the tire out.
I think our hope was to, if we go this route, hope was to get it through, that we would trade it next year.
Correct.
Go through this summer and next summer, and then we trade it in the next year.
And get
And go on
another
Hustler, and go on a 2-year rotation of trading.
Bob's willing to work out a pretty decent deal for every 2 years for a couple thousand or something.
So, yeah. Just speaking for the park board, I'm not gonna ask to have this held up anymore, but we still had time to move it through them. Here's my issue with using a budget that it's not appropriated for. I had Luann show us the capital improvement plan for both the Public Works and for the Park Board. And Public Works did have the new Hustler on their capital improvement plan. So, you can see the Park Board does not have any kind of motorized vehicles on their CIPs. So when you look at the budget, in the budget, typically a piece of equipment that is motorized like this comes out of the capital outlay. It's where this three of us sat and looked at CIPs, approved it, and that's where we thought the money was going to come out of. So now, if we go in the middle of the year and say, well, this department needs this, but we're gonna take it out of this department's budget, I have a problem with that. In the future, going forward, if you want Park Board to start taking care of some of that on their CIP and in their budget, that's a different story. But there's money in here for this purchase, and that's where we thought it was gonna come from. Also, my concern about that Park Board budget is this: we are waiting on 2 big grants. And we have some big plans for the parks this year, that if we don't get those grants, we need to use our backup funds to get handicap equipment in a park. It's important to the Park Board, and they wanna do that. And also the shelter. If we don't get the grant for the shelter, we have to come up with the extra money, otherwise we're not moving forward with any of our projects. And if you use our budget, you know, it's not there then for us to do park improvements. And I think that the park budget and all of the reserves are to be used for park improvements, park structures. I just wish that this would come out of the budget that we had approved it for when we set budgets.
I agree. Yeah, they should have been told that was gonna come out if that's what's gonna happen.
I think we're just trying to be true to the budget. Under park, it says motor fuels, so you have
That's gas.
motor fuels for the lawnmowers, but you don't own the lawnmowers. I think the mowers are a park piece of equipment. They should come out of the capital. We just transferred money to the park capital fund. Why these pieces of equipment aren't in there and aren't budgeted appropriately, like Jerry said, 7/8 or whatever.
Because motorized vehicles and things like that usually come out of capital outlay in the public works. It's a public works piece of equipment. They maintain it, they take care of it, they use it, you know. Yes, it's used on the parks, but it's used in other areas too. I'm worried about the precedent that this is setting. We had this planned out of capital outlay in the public works. In the future, let's say the park board decides, or council decides, we need another lawnmower. And park board, you guys need to put that in your budget, and then we'll have to get it into our CIP and plan for it.
I guess I'd agree that in the future, yes, the park budget should, or park CIP should include at least a portion of the lawnmower, because, I mean, that's where they're used primarily. Now, I wasn't aware of this, public works CIP there, so I guess that may change things a little bit.
Well, as we continue to refine and figure out where we're at, I mean, for the longest time, we took the part-time staff out of street department too, but now we moved them into parks because that makes sense. So as we go along, we're learning, and yes, the lawnmowers probably should come out of the parks department. They really should, because that's where they're used the most. So, and some of Kyle's time should probably come out of parks too, but it doesn't. I mean, if we want to really truly know what the cost of government is in each one of our departments, we ought to be charging that back or budgeting in those budgets, and we're all, you know, as we keep going, we just keep, things change. You think
But I'm saying that's a moving forward thing, and this is something that we had planned for last year in this budget.
And that's true.
And I'm worried about setting a precedent. Is that, you know, are we gonna start purchasing things from one department and saying, no, you should pay for that because really, you know, the EDA's got some money and, you know, I can make anything sound like an economic development. I don't think it's right. And this has still not gone to the park board.
Because we took it to Public Works, thinking that it was Public Works to do, and we met with Jerry and we talked about it, and that's where the decision came from, because it's his equipment that he uses.
And it's in his budget.
But Park Board is a policy board, it's a policy with the parks. And as we thought about it, it's probably true that the lawnmower should come out of the park department, though. It shouldn't be coming out of Public Works. out of streets because it isn't used there. Just as some of Lois's time ought to be charged back to water and sewer for utility bills, but we don't do that either. I mean, we haven't always done those things because it skews the budgets too much. So, I mean, if that's what you really wanna truly do is sit down and we're just trying to be fair and transparent and charge back to what needs to be charged back to. That's what we're trying to do.
Right, and I just think that we've already designated funds for this thing in a different budget, and it's kind of misappropriating.
I agree with you that it's, excuse me, I'm sorry, go ahead, I was going to step over
No,
you.
you're right.
I agree with you that it probably should come out of that. I guess I would propose then, if that's the case, maybe can we do a 50-50 split, take half of it out of the, Public Works where it was originally done, and the other half out of the probably park fund. 50-50 split, we've got roughly 2% of what your fund balance is right now in the park fund. That would be,
Are you amending your motion?
yeah, I'll amend the motion to that. That would give us, still hold us somewhat accountable to the CIP that was, for the capital improvement plan that was put forward, but move us in the direction of getting things more in line with all the various, commissions and boards and so forth. So I would amend that if we do a 50-50 split on that. By the way, is that okay with you in a second, Bruce? Yeah. Okay. So any further discussion?
I still just think it should be, done the way we had set it up. And, I understand moving forward. I think it's something that moving forward we need to start changing, but
Yep.
this is where the public thinks that money was coming from. This is what we decided, and I think it should all come out of capital outlay.
I agree.
So I just have a question, 'cause I wasn't here when how the CIP from 2015. So this was last year, or was it this year?
Sometime in May, you will do the 2016
Okay.
CIP, and then the numbers get put into the budget in June or July. We do that.
But
We
then,
look forward to see what we need to plan for.
but then they come to council. All the CIPs will come to council, and then council reviews them, and we look at the budget, and
So technically this money is there, or is it?
It's in the street department budget.
You know, I mean, my thing has always been, you know, tell us what you need, we'll get you what you need, ask for what you need. And that's what the park board did. They said, this is what we need, and we told them that's what we think is good, and the idea, and I think we go with that. And I think moving forward, we maybe need to look at changing that. And, you know, I know Victoria does that. They, you know, bill so much of your public works guy to the parks department and wherever else he's working, and maybe that's something that we need to look into, but we
started doing that because we took on the part-time, or the seasonal employee. But just to clarify, this isn't the park board's recommendation. This came before the park board even, I mean, it's Kyle's recommendation, it's in his CIP, and it's in his budget. So,
agree.
I'm not saying that I'm against purchasing it at all. I agree that we shouldn't purchase the Batwing. I think we should purchase the Hustler, but this is not the park board's recommendation. I just want to be clear that this was Public Works.
Absolutely, and I agree with that statement. It's Public Works and selling it.
So then maybe if we wanted to buy a second one, we'd look at that being on the park side for next year.
Park
Yeah.
board will review
Yeah,
that.
that in the
And
future,
then that's the start of the alignment, and then everybody's aware, and it's not just like a surprise.
I would agree.
Like, just give one, I mean, I could go
That part of that could,
really deep.
right, I mean, right.
Right.
They could go all over the place, so maybe that could go,
Mhm.
typically, I wouldn't even have a CIP truck. It's like, the truck I use everywhere. I mean,
Right.
so, I don't know.
Should part of that-
I'm a little confused, but.
That's why motorized vehicles come out of
No.
capital outlay.
So when
Trucks
you,
and,
Well, then do you just start billing hourly for how many hours you spend in the parks?
How complicated do you want?
I know.
Come on, really? I mean,
I understand.
and if, you know.
There's gotta be a happy medium here somewhere.
Right, and it's all the taxpayers,
Or a
it's all the
cooperation.
taxpayers' money. What does it matter which pot it's coming out of, because it's all taxpayers' money. It's all property tax money that they've paid.
But if the
What
park
does it
board
matter?
wants to build a structure, they aren't gonna be able to come and ask for capital outlay money. How's that gonna go over?
I think they have in the past. I think they did the last budget, where we
We
increased
asked for capital outlay money? For
Yeah,
what?
you did, in your budget. I mean, what do you have in your budget that you came to for last year? It's a capital outlay line item in the budget, type, $62,000. That's for your park, that's for your,
We didn't take money out of this budget to put into this budget,
no, but
though.
it's in your, no, that's true. No,
We
but you
didn't
did
build
ask
it.
for money there.
We
Or
didn't
you're saying
spend
don't
any
ask for
park
money from
money
other,
and then ask a different
other
department
capital
for their
outlay.
money.
But if the case were that other department, it should be charged for it, then I would think that the argument would be made that you would do it. Because if the equipment's being used for that department, then it should be. And that's kind of what the argument's being made here is, the lawnmower's used in the park, so the parks really should pay for it.
So we're not billing any of Kyle's wages,
No.
it's just McKinsey's wages.
Yeah.
Right, yes.
And all the other equipment that's utilized from Public Works isn't being accounted for on this budget that's appropriated for parks.
I mean, and if you really want to get, doing Kyle's time for parks, then you got my time too. Because I do park board stuff. Does my time get, I mean, how complicated do you want the budget?
Right.
True.
But this is a piece of equipment, it's tangible.
Well, I realize it, but you still balance out, if we do this 50-50 split, we're gonna be a lot closer in getting actual cost down the road. So, any further discussion, or else I'm gonna call the motion to see what happens here. Okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Motion carried. 50-50 split.
Yep.
Okay. Moving
What time is it? What time do
forward,
you guys
and
want
when we do our next CIP, we're gonna be,
Pretty interesting.
I guess when we do the next CIP, we'll have the park board review, because they review the CIP before it comes to you, and
Yeah.
we'll have them add equipment to their park board. I already have it written
Okay.
on here, so,
Do you use ADP for payroll?
no. We do our own payroll.
okay. 5-5, approval of resolution, part-time seasonal public works staff.
The City of Mayor has had part-time summer help to assist Public Works in completing maintenance of parks. Kinsey Stiffer has been employed by the city since 2011 and is willing to return this year to assist with the maintenance of the parks. Staff is proposing that the position be 30 hours with the ability to be full-time if needed, and the rate of pay is set at $11.86 per hour. If council is in agreement, then a motion approving Resolution 4-13-2015-14 would be in order. And I know that when we budgeted for up to 40 hours, but I'm only requesting that we tell her that it's 30 hours and then increase it as needed and decrease it as needed too, so.
I'll make the motion to approve Resolution 4-13-2015.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Not all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Hey, we got one.
Got one. Okay, approval of, ordinance 199, amending a zoning ordinance.
Mr. Mayor, council members, this is a text amendment to change the height requirement for fences and the accessory structure size allowable without a building permit. And then the planning commission also review of the outdoor storage. Public hearing was held on April 7th, and there was no public comment. The city of Mayor is the one that has initiated this text amendment because of changes to the building code. So, again, due to recent changes in the state building code, items relating to fence height and accessory structure size can be amended within the zoning ordinance. There was also some discussion recently on changes to the outdoor storage section of the zoning ordinance as well. So the proposed changes are also shown with this text amendment and meant to be discussed. The fence section changes it from 6 to 7 feet, and I believe the accessory structure goes from 120 to 200 square feet, or square feet, without a building permit. Before it had to be 10 by 12, where now it can be 10 by 20 or whatever size to come up with that 200. So ordinance 199 reflects those changes. to the zoning ordinance, so a motion approving ordinance 199 would be in order. The outdoor storage, my understanding is the planning commission decided just to leave it as it currently is. Staff had been contacted by, a property owner wanting to know what outdoor storage was for the creamery, and being it's downtown, so I sent it to the planning commission for them to review, knowing that we just got the place cleaned up. We really didn't want to have it all cluttered up again, especially since it's our downtown area. So, the planning commission decided that what we have in our current code is adequate to address any outdoor storage, which has to be screened, so they didn't make any changes to the outdoor storage section, but just the fence and the, accessory structure size.
Okay. Okay, is there a motion to approve this ordinance?
Make a
199.
motion approving it.
Is there a second? Okay, motion made, second to approve ordinance 199 as discussed, reviewed. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. That's two.
You're on a roll, Jerry.
Okay, moving on. Okay, resolution 413-1515, sale of excess fire equipment.
Mr. Mayor, council members, if you recall, the fire chief was at the work session, I believe it was, at the last city council meeting, and informed the council that he had some SCBA's and the 1987 International Fire Truck that he would like to sell. Council instructed staff to prepare a resolution for the sale of the excess fire equipment. I've prepared the resolution, so I'm requesting that you approve the resolution for the sale of the excess fire equipment.
And that's for the air pack sale.
The air pack's in the truck.
Okay. Okay, is there a motion to approve this?
I'll make a
resolution?
motion.
Is there a second? Okay, motion made, second to approve resolution 413-1515, sale of excess fire equipment. Any further discussion? Not, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, motion carried. Okay, approval of advertisements for the 2015 seal coating program.
Mr. Mayor, council members, at the last work session, city engineer discussed with you about the 2015 seal coating program and requested whether the city wanted to move forward. Council instructed the city engineer to prepare a list of the recommended seal coating, so he has prepared that list and a map, and we are here before you tonight requesting approval of advertisements for the 2015 seal coating program.
I think we discussed that, and all those things are in need. It's just routine.
Correct.
Yearly maintenance is what we need to do here. So, is there a motion to approve this, first of all? For the
Okay,
approval of...
what are we approving? To get the bids?
Get the
Yes.
bids.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, motion made and second to approve the advertisements of bids for seal coating. Any further discussion? Okay.
I just have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
All these questions I have.
Love 'em.
So is this something like that would be in the budget that was set, like, for?
Yes.
Just curious. Where all the money comes from.
There's 47,000, I believe, in the capital outlay, and we think this will be about 37,000. So we'll see.
So when we see the bids come in, then we can discuss, and I can ask the question again where it comes from.
Well, we'll make the recommendation that where it'll come from, but we did add a couple of streets to it.
Yeah, this is a little bigger than the one we went out for last year because, well, we didn't do a project last year, so this includes all the streets that are due for seal coating with the idea that we'll get quotes, bring it back, and if we need to adjust the scope of the project to be consistent with your budget, then we'd look at that at that time.
Dave, did you look at that, speed bump on Hidden Creek Boulevard at all? We talked about that, storm sewer that crossed the road that's got a pretty good size heave in it.
I have not.
Buddy did.
Okay.
Well, Kyle's aware of it also.
Yeah, I know where it is. We can get it milled down and shoot that up if we need to. It's a bump, but I don't know.
Well, and I can take a look at it when I'm in town next time too, but, I would say that it should be taken care of before we seal coat. You know, the one thing, if it's a bump and it's significant enough, it's not, you know, you kinda start thumping the road, that's not real good for it either.
Some of the other roads, I mean, if there's bumps and stuff, kind of like, so I don't know how picky we want to be about it, but, no, if we need to get fixed, I'd, yeah, for sure get fixed before seal coating. I have manholes too, I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it's kind of a similar work for some of the manhole, repairs you need to make, and you'll have some just general street patching that will take place before your seal coating anyway.
Okay. And then the 2 cul-de-sacs, have you used that fog seal after they seal coat it? They come back and sweep it or whatever, and then they seal it to hold the material?
I haven't done that, but I know that it's been done in other places that in an attempt to try to get that rock from rolling around quite as much. I can look into that for you. I'm not familiar with whether it's successful or not.
Yeah, I'm not sure how successful it is, but it seems like when the snowplows go in there, they just peel the seal coating right off.
The seal coating in general, you know, it takes a while for it to set up, and it's really tough in the cul-de-sacs just because it's constant turning movement. So, you know, I know we've had that, well, in all of the cul-de-sacs, that is an issue for a little while.
Okay.
Any further discussion, questions? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Okay, discussion on video for webpage re-roundabout.
Mr. Mayor, council members, at the March 9th council meeting, staff presented information about an educational video on the roundabout in Watertown. And when staff had checked on the cost for the video to the website, it was found that the cost was $15,000 to $20,000. City Council suggested that staff contact ZTS Productions to find out if video could be put together and then posted to the city's website. The cost for ZTS Productions to do a video would be about $2,000. However, the city engineer will need to provide information to ZTS, which will also add to the cost. Again, attached is his estimate. Staff's requesting direction on whether the city wants to do a video. And just for your information, construction is to begin on the roundabout in April. The following is the proposed timeline for the roundabout project. Will start the week of April 13th with clearing and grubbing, working in the right-of-way until May 18th, which is the tentative detour date, which is when they will close the Highway 25, and completion of the project by the 4th of July. With the ZTS stating it could be 1 to 2 months, the project could be completed before the video is finished. So
It's not worth it.
I don't know if you want to move forward on it or not.
Let them learn on the road itself.
Yep.
Yeah, so
It's not that,
that
it's not like
doesn't
we're
make
shutting
sense,
anything
no.
down.
This
We do
isn't-
have an open house.
Oh, yes,
We
correct.
do have an open house scheduled for next Monday
Correct.
here at
Okay.
City Hall, 5:30 to 7,
It's on the
I believe.
agenda.
Is that on the sign?
Yes,
I've seen it posted someplace, yeah.
I put it on the sign.
Yeah.
No formal presentation, anything like that, but we'll have some boards and basically just be available to explain the project, answer
Okay.
questions if people are interested.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay, moving on, 510, approval of utility bill adjustment policy. That's just our continuing, review of city of mayor policies, utility bill adjustment policy and fund balance policy. Any questions on any of those? Okay, if not, let's do these separately. Is there a motion to approve the utility bill adjustment policy?
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion made second to approve the utility bill adjustment policy as, printed, or as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. And then the fund balance policy. Is there a motion to approve that?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, motion made second to approve the fund balance policy. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, any other business?
I just should let you know, Mr. Mayor and council members, that Dave Martini and I are gonna be attending the Waconia Township Board meeting, township meeting tonight at 8:30. we're going there to discuss the annexation of those properties into the city on 62nd Street. Because what we found is we have an orderly annexation agreement with Waconia Township that states that all the property owners, 100% of the property owners have to petition the city. So we're going to ask them to waive that requirement so that we can annex that piece of property into town. So.
Okay.
And we also met with, Paul Moline today, Carver County, about additional funding for the wetland, and we'll keep you updated on that as that continues to progress.
Okay. Council reports. Okay, just by way for the, router Wi-Fi whole thing, I think by next meeting we should have something ready to present for a decision. Got somebody coming on Thursday this week to look at it and to give us a price, and then we'll have at least 3 bits to look at and go from there. Anything else? So motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Second, is there? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, motion carried. Thank you.